Don't you know you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar? Today, we're talking about how to incentivize your employees to become leaders in your law firm. Here's your instructor, Molly McGrath.
So we're going to start with employee growth plans, and then we're going to move into incentive-based compensation plans and then bring it all together for you. You all know me by now. I am all about giving you samples so you no longer have to get overwhelmed and stressed out and paralyzed by all this. So we're going to talk about the employee growth plan high level. There's a sample in the back end of the academy to get your juices flowing. And then there's also a blank copy in there to be used over and over again. But I'm going to go through this, but in preparation for this, here's a few things of how to set up the conversation. Bring it to your team meeting, but if you have people that are virtual or what have you, there's a sample letter here for you to send out as an email to get excited for your upcoming review and growth plan meeting. So you'll see here that for the announcement that we're officially systematizing quarterly employee growth plans and reviews. As always, make it your own, easier to edit than create this a framework. But it gets you to get people to buy in. So what to expect, what this means for you, all that. So the sample letter is there. You don't have to worry about that, of how to get buy-in from a team. Have it as a conversation, use it as a script if you're going to do this in person in your weekly stakeholders meeting, and then sending out the email as well. Then there's also here a checklist for preparing for this. So this is for you as a critical team member. Again, and as always, we do not want the attorney to have to drive all this. Our goal is to step up and lead. By now in this final module, you should be doing this like unconsciously, like a boss. So here's a checklist here for you to prepare for the quarterly employee growth plan as a critical team member, as a team leader. You'll see that it is step by step by step in regards to how to schedule it, review and collect, again, during, post, and I'm always a huge fan of identification, how to prepare and plan, and then the final step that is about finalize, summarize, and next steps. So no more excuses for overwhelm, and I don't know how to do this, and all the head trash that we have about that. I have a letter here, an email, a script for you to roll it out, how to prepare for this, so no stone unturned. Now you're in the meeting. You've done the prep work. The team members done the prep work. You're coming together. And by and large, it should be super exciting to do this together. It's a coaching conversation. Your attorney will probably have to lead the very first one, but the goal is that you replace them as a critical team member, depending on your firm size and then the levels of departments. If you're PLA, hit it. You're all set up for this. If you're COO, you can. If you are the office manager, what have you, it might take doing this with the attorney in the beginning, and then they can hand the baton to you. So let's go into the employee growth plan. As you can see, it is a system to keep the team productive and on a plan of growth. So I have this example here and if it's your first one, this first box, but getting clear is an annual, quarterly, is a 90-day onboarding evaluation. Maybe it's a promotion. Maybe it is unsatisfactory and a performance plan when that does happen occasionally, hopefully not often. Then you have a culture issue. But going into their accomplishments since last review. These are not just hairy-fairy esoteric. There is depth. You can see this within the system. So the team member is putting theirs. You want to look for where they are engaged. They took ownership of workshops from setup to hosting without the boss's involvement. They completed the basic office training, phone procedures, and attended the annual paralegal conference with the team. These are great, not showed up to work on time 10 out of 40 days. These have value. They're difference making, where you're looking for where the team member gets it, wants it, and has the capacity for it. As I've said in previous module, just looking at this when you receive it, and you see a lot of blanks, NAs, one words, and there's not depth to this. When you get it, you're like, oh my goodness. Maybe in the past when you've gotten feedback from employees like, oh boy, this is loaded with complaints and problems and no proposed solutions. No, now you're starting, and once you get a couple of these quarterly employee growth plans under your belt, you're excited just by the sheer volume of words on this process. You're like, they're invested. They get it. You immediately know that off the bat. And so then the manager uses the comments of what needs to improve, what's working, what needs improvement, recommendations for tools and support for the improvement plan. As you can see in this sample, there is some depth to this. Usually we do a performance plan. Here's the scorecard. Here's where I'm rating you. And you just need to improve. Well, what the hell is anyone going to do with that? It doesn't show, you don't show up like a coach, as a mentor, as a leader, that you are supporting them. So then you have recommended, again, it's recommended so you could have collaboration and banter and a conversation around this together. So right here, you're already seeing where this is a team approach for your success, employee, and your success means company success. And then you have the employee do a rating. You have them rate themselves. And this is so incredibly critical. So on the tips for preparing, you will see that they have a due date and a deadline to get this back to you as the supervisor, manager, leader. So then you can do the employer rating, even if you are the manager doing it on behalf of the manager. You want to look here too, where there is discrepancy. You might have an employee that is rating improvement needed on almost everything, or more often than not, or maybe they're rating it on an average. This is ding, 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 ding information for you that they might be struggling with confidence. And knowing their Colby too, they might be sitting in analysis paralysis. And these are opportunity. It's not, are they dependable? It just right there at first glance, you're like, okay, we're dealing with a confidence issue here. I think she's great, this stage of the game, especially if it's an onboarding plan. At 90 days in, I think she's doing better than most. And you're always comparing to the previous person that was in that position, or maybe you, when you were the only team member. You're like, we didn't have systems, we didn't have process, we didn't have a CRM. Like, or maybe we don't now. And you're like, with the tools and the technology and the framework that he or she has, like, they're rocking it. So you're looking at that very quickly. It's telling you where their confidence is. On the flip side, if they have all S's on here and superior more often than not, indication of arrogance and ego. It is an indication that they are not self-reflective and self-aware. It is an indication that they're not a lifetime learner and interested in growth and expansion and always getting uncomfortable. And they're probably not very open and coachable. So when you see that, which I've seen a lot of times in regards to that, is that especially when you're looking at side by side on yours and going each one. But before you go to your employer rating, I want you to take a quick glance in looking at where there may be imbalances. All S's, all I's, leaning more to the right of all A's and I's, or do we see like an S here? Or for the most part, where you're like, They're self-aware, they're self-reflective, they're a lifetime learner, what have you. And then when you come time for your rating, you're like, oh gosh, they did an A. Hell no, they are superior in that. They are way more than average. They don't know how far they've come. So you're looking at that and you're super excited to get into this conversation in regards to that. They might rate in regards to initiative an I, and you might rate them as an A. And you're like, listen, I don't need you to have initiative in this role. You're the bookkeeper. Your job is incredibly black and white. I don't need you to come to me and make all these suggestions for improvement in bookkeeping. It is black and white. And so I don't need a lot of initiative in regards to that. Or they may be thinking as a bookkeeper, and again, a high fact finder, like, I'm just a bookkeeper. What the hell kind of initiative should there be in there? And you're like, there should be. I really was expecting for you to come with process improvements. We need to get off QuickBooks and go to Gusto. It would cost our slash our expenses. It will be more efficient. QuickBooks doesn't pay employees for 5 days. Gusto is 24 hours. So then you get the idea. So you're really looking at where there's discrepancy, and it's a really empowering, exciting, rewarding conversation in regards to that. So you look at all these different areas, and this right off the bat will set the tone for the growth plan for the meeting. And seeing where, like, no, you do not need improvement in this area. Check the box. You are done. You're good. You've overexceeded. We're putting zero energy into that one. And you're confirming that for them. You're validating that for them. And really also giving massive, massive kudos. Then this part I really, really love. I love these questions in here because, again, the team member is doing this. And I've said this in every module. I hope I don't have to say this anymore, but I'm going to just say it. 1099 overseas virtual assistants are doing this as well. They are a team member. Part-time, don't matter about hours that they're working and or physical location. Everybody is doing this. So, and you're doing it as well as a critical team member. The attorney's just conducting yours. So I just want to say that as well. So you're looking at the depth of these questions. And again, when you're getting that and you're pulling it up, you can just see by the sheer volume and the organization of the employees' review of how committed they are with all this. When you're looking at number one, the volume, but then number two, where they're taking self-ownership within this. For example, number 5 here, what can I do to support you in this role? Look at just the level. This is what you're hoping for a rock star 8-player team member. Allow the 90-day trial basis hour adjustment with tracking and reported presented to you after the 90 days. If I increase conversion rates by 15%, I'll receive a $250 bonus, and the change in the hours become permanent. I mean, looking at percentages, dollars amount, this is communicating their confidence. This is communicating they understand your process. They understand their why. They understand the business model. So they already know that if they increase the conversion rate by 15%, again, going back to the quarterly strategic retreat and the 4 power projects, going back to their individual KPIs, you can tell immediately they own their KPIs. They're in their bones and their blood. They own their job description. And this person, this example, they're in their 90-day onboarding process. You're like, yes, we have done a great job as a company, as a culture of getting people to understand our why, their why, the client's why in 90 days or less. Hell yes for that. right there is just validation of the culture and the systems that you've created within your law firm. So you'll see for the next couple pages the level of depth that you're looking at. You have a Sharpie, you have, highlighters. You are just absolutely, positively just writing all over this and putting, arrows and what have you. You have your comments, you have your notes, you have everything ready for that when they come into the conference room, into the coaching room, where this is a coaching, this is a mentorship conversation that is there. So when they come in, you give them a copy of it. My recommendation, you do not send it before. I think this is also on the tips for preparation, what have you. Do not send it to them before. They're going to make up stories and stuff and what have you. Have a copy of it there with your arrows, with your highlights, with what have you, and then go through it together page by page. It should take no more than an hour, allowing time within that hour for debrief, clarification, verification, checking on the tone, just like we do in the retreat and quite frankly, every single meeting, where we are just really checking in on the tone and the temperature, because you heard me say it once, you've heard me say it a million times. You're responsible for the energy you bring in the room and then you leave in the room. So we do not, most employee performance reviews are left with a cliffhanger. I cannot tell you how many times I get phone calls from team members saying, I just get out of my review. They're in their car, they're in their parking lot and saying, I'm quitting. Or they're just like completely just traumatized from that, because we're going through your performance plan and all the things that you have to do and not ending on a positive note, not ending on a growth note, not ending on a coaching note. So you should be excited about this, even as a team member. You can't wait to have yours done. You should be seeing right now, in regards to this, how empowering this is for your team every single solitary quarter versus just waiting until annually to go through this. Now there's no sticky, tricky conversation about raises and reviews and all that, because we don't have to worry about that. We have individual KPIs, and in a moment, we're going to go into incentive-based compensation plans. So they know how they're earning their money and where they have opportunities for or income earning potential, what have you. It's all laid out. Now at the annual, just get incredibly clear. My recommendation is you talk about this up front. Employee growth plans are just to put you on a plan of growth to make sure that we're always realigning and up-leveling your individual KPIs within your, always making certain that there's opportunity for growth. In my recruiting business, I cannot tell you how many times when we are interviewing candidates for job placement, our first question is, tell me why you're talking to a recruiter today and why you're looking for a new job. 100% of the time, this is what people will say. Well, I'm just exploring my opportunities for growth, or I'm leaving my current firm because there's no opportunity for growth. And when we start peeling away the layers of the onion on that one, I'm like, tell me what opportunity means for you and tell me what growth means for you. And we really start peeling away the layers of the onion. And it means this: not more money, not Cadillac benefits, not what have you, for the most part. It is that we are not having conversations. They don't know. They're hired as a receptionist and they think the only way they could ever grow is to go to law school. I hear that all the time from people. If they're a legal assistant or a receptionist or what have you, they're like, well, or a paralegal. For me, I just, I'm going to go to law school next. I'm like, why? Because they have head trash. If I'm just here, the only way I can grow in a law firm is become a paralegal or an attorney. We've already demonstrated in these 12 weeks Who's the most important position within the law firm? The director of first impressions, intake and client services. I'm like, girl, you have the most important job, because if you're not doing your job and there's an empty calendar, the attorney job is irrelevant because they have no clients to meet with, no prospective clients to meet with. So when people tell me opportunity for growth, there's nowhere to grow here, it's because of the absence of this. The employee growth plan is not about raises. It is 100% about refinement and elevation in your individual job role, in your KPIs, in addition to the incentive-based compensation plan and the strategic retreats coupled with this employee growth plan. This is employee retention. When firms implement this, the turnover stops. The drama stops. The wonder and worry stops. The banging on the attorney's door, supervisor's door for when am I getting a raise, or them quitting, quiet quitting, and not giving the real reason because they had a recruiter poach them, dangling the carrots of bonuses and more money. My favorite thing is when, as a recruiter, we reach out all positions within a law firm and ask them, say, hey, we have a great opportunity. And in fact, the exact subject line we use in our recruiting marketing strategies, this is the subject line. Are you happy? Are you being treated well? And are you making the money that you deserve? If not, let's talk. My favorite day is when people reply and they're like, I love my firm, not interested, take me off your list. I literally would go out to Google land and research the firm and look at and figure out. If I can find an email address for the attorney or the office manager, what have you, I'll go as far, because this is what my passion is, and send them an email and say, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Don't stop doing. In fact, double down on it, because your employees won't even talk to a recruiter that is promising more money, more bonuses, what have you. And that's what you want for your firm. And the reason those firms, and I've interviewed a few of them on my podcast, is because they have this framework in place. We are hiring human beings first and foremost, human doings second. Human beings at the core want time, attention, and feedback. And this provides it 4 times a year, quarterly. The daily huddle provides it daily. So you get the drill, start implementing these now as a team leader. Now, we have the employee growth plan, you have the checklist, you have the email to roll it out to the team members. Next, let's talk about incentive comp. So you have those growth plans. You've identified, clarified, verified the individual cost of living raises if they're still in the same position at the end of the year, which hopefully they're not, because it means you're growing and you're elevating, because you have the individual KPIs for their fun little gamification bonuses. We have our quarterly strategic retreat. We have our 4 power project. And now we have an incentive-based compensation bonus structure. This is a sample, again, easier to edit than create. So first and foremost, my recommendation is that before you get to a place of identifying this to get people's buy-in, I've created here for you a survey. This came out of Open Coaching Hour many, many months ago, where team members were like, I'm like, what's important for you? Some people are like, I'm not motivated by money. I'm just grateful to have a job, blah, blah, blah. And then there would be like, okay, how are we going to come up with a collective team-centric approach to reach goal? So-and-so could care less about money, blah, blah, blah. So send out this survey first and foremost. Figure out what motivates people to do their best work. where they like to have recognition and rewards, what's most meaningful for them, and then have some suggestions for them and have them rate them, and then give them an opportunity to use their voice and to communicate. Going back to past open coaching hours, you will hear where people have shared, and I highly recommend after this 12-week, while you're driving, doing dishes, drafting documents, put those old open coaching hours in your ears and listen to them. They're liquid gold, because you will hear in some of those calls where people were sharing that, I'm not really motivated by money, so I don't know. We can't agree as a team on the incentive comp structure. And I'm like, hang on, time out. Christine, tell me really quick, if you had a blank check, what would you pay for? She's like, well, I really want to put my son into a private lacrosse camp, but I don't make that much money. My husband's a breadwinner and blah, blah, blah. And it's really expensive and we don't have the money for it. Like, what if I know you're not motivated by money, but what if your bonus structure allowed for you to pay for that solely, wholly based off of your bonus that comes out of that, from your monthly to your quarterly to your completely, you can see it on the video. She lights up. She's like, oh my God, hell yes. I want money. That's exactly what I'm doing it. I've told you about Jessica before. I'm not motivated by money, what have you. I'm like, what wakes you up at 2:00 in the morning, Jessica? My credit card bill is crushing me. My $11,000 credit, I cannot get ahead with this and I'm not paying it off. I'm not making enough money to make anything more than the monthly payment. Okay, Jessica, what if your bonus structure allowed and you're able to pay it? She said 2 years, she paid it off in one. I pushed her hard. Do you think she's motivated by money? So you have to get really clear on the why. Do this before you start develop what your structure is. I've said it before where you'll hear an open coaching hour. Some they came up with, it was a little bit of money, but then in addition where they did their growth day on Friday and then took the rest of the day off. You will hear several examples. So do this before you identify it and present it to the attorney. So you know your number. Here's a sample here for you. Here's some ideas too. So you'll see here the survey, and then I have incentive comp programs. These all came out of open coaching hour and law firm admin bootcamp. And these are ideas for you to come up with for incentive-based programs and the benefits of that. So give it the suggestions that are here and send the survey, and then put due date always and a deadline for them to get back to you. And then when you get in the conference room together to identify this. This is a sample. It is pretty much not a tremendous amount of collaboration that really needs to happen on the framework. We know the monthly goal. We know the annual goal. We know the monthly goal. We know how many hires we need. We have our ideal week. We know we need, per this example, 10, 12 new clients a week to get hired hired by 4 a week with a 36% conversion rate because we do everything for a retail practice. If you have a referral practice, power partners, like we've talked about earlier in the marketing meeting, your conversion rate's going to be much higher. If you have a blended one, then your conversion rate's you know the drill. So you know your numbers, you know your framework, you know what we need. What I love about this sample, that I'd say the majority of law firms use this one, because it is incredibly clear what we need for monthly, where the baseline revenue, and then what we're chunking out to be paid out monthly, quarterly, and banked for year-end payout. And each employee is eligible to receive the comp plan. This is outside of your individual KPIs. And there's guidelines here. So there's safety nets for the attorney that, they're not digging into profit. And so we know monthly revenue cannot hit below a certain baseline in any single month, or the bonus pool will be withdrawn dollar for dollar. And this is the exact one that I have used within my law firm. And then we go into the annual bonus pool. As you can see, this is written like a board of directors, like an entrepreneur, like a CEO. So you're taking into consideration profitability for the business. You're also taking into consideration direct expenses, hardwired expenses, overhead, cost of goods and services and everything in there. So it's in there, and it's not that we're getting dollar for dollar based on revenue. There's an amount that goes back to the firm for future growth. And then there's a percentage that is shared among the team equally in regards to making certain that expenses don't go through the roof, making certain that the baseline revenue does not go beyond what has been allocated and projected. And then again, we're going to take extreme ownership. This is silly math in regards to that. I very rarely have a firm that does not meet this. It is clear, it is concise, it is trackable, it is measurable, and it takes all the pressure off of the attorney with these discretionary bonuses. I cannot tell you how often I will get a call from an attorney in regards to this at year end. What should I give for bonuses? How much should I give? They're all just pulling out of thin air. They're emotion based. I don't want to be Scrooge. I don't want to seem like I'm looking bad. I don't want people quitting and walking out, things of that nature. All of that goes away. It is here. And there's a lot of energy for you as a team member, monthly, quarterly, and annually. And guess what? If people exit off the bus, so to speak, they quit, they get fired, or what have you, they're not getting the final payday at end of year. You have to be here the full year to be able to earn and to be rewarded with this bonus. So it takes the business owner into consideration the profitability, and then also for you all running the day-to-day, like we see. So I want you to start with getting really clear. Now, some of the examples, and you'll hear this in open coaching hour and things of that nature, where sometimes we will add additional things there for year-end sprint. So the only difference in here is a year-end sprint, and go back and watch that training where we are really having like that 2-minute warning that they talk about on the Super Bowl playing field, where we are doing a massive sprint to get to over and exceeding our annual goal. So I've used examples, and other firms have used examples, that if for our year-end sprint, we're going to close the office between Christmas and New Year's, not have to use PTO, and everybody's paid if we exceed and go over the goal. But for now, we're talking about the framework and the standard for your incentive-based compensation plan that goes hand in hand with your quarterly strategic retreats. So if you're new to implementing this, by your next retreat, you should be coming with this sample there. In your first retreat, you're doing a lot of the brainstorming on this as well. That's it. There is no longer, are we getting raises? Are we getting bonuses? It takes all the wonder, all the worry, all the anxiety on both sides. The attorney does not like not having a system and structure for this any more than you do. I have had people call me in tears because of the year-end discretionary bonus that they've gotten, either horrified and incredibly offended, or completely over the moon and elated with the generosity of their attorney. But when they share these dollar amounts with me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe they've written that check, because we've met revenue goal or what have you, but the attorney is not anchoring to putting back into the business. So they're excited, we made money, I'm giving this check at the end of the year. But guess what? Everybody's walking in the 1st of January and there's the calendar's empty. And now we're not going to reach revenue goals. So we just negated everything because we just gave out this fat check. We are future polling, we are future planning consistently, and we are preparing, and we also know our seasonal slowdowns. So everybody is aware, and everybody is in agreement, everybody's empowered, and everybody's engaged. That's it, gang. Get started. Present this to your attorney. Stop waiting for your attorney to come to you. In this final module, this is the last piece. The last 3 modules that we've actually talked about is about you. You are going to say no to recruiters that reach out to you. I'm incredibly happy at my firm because we have this framework in there. You're no longer believing or saying there's no opportunity for growth. You're clear on your opportunities and you are crystal clear on your growth professionally within your job description, where you get to stretch yourself financially and also with your skills and your knowledge. And you don't have to go to law school to be an attorney to have that, or a paralegal, quite honestly.
Control freak, it's what my staff thinks. They may be right, because this treadmill of dread running through my head keeps me up at night. I'm so tired of micromanaging. How do I train, manage, and lead? I can't find time to be visionary, head down in the weeds. We're gonna tighten up this operation. We're gonna build a strong foundation. No more chaos and confusion. We'll build a team that brings solutions. I see what could be, and I can't wait. Law firm admin boot camp is the way. We're signing up today. Law firm admin boot camp is the way.